Welcome to Wages and Warriors, and once again, we have a new champion in a light heavyweight division. Alex Pereira regains control of his belt this weekend, and it was a complete domination. As soon as that bell rang, he went in the middle of the octagon, he attacked Magomed, and didn't stop attacking until the ref pulled him off, and boom, he is a champ again. He beat the snot out of him. There left no doubt that who was the better fighter that night. Now it's Alex Pereira. And now the question looms. And it was the weirdest thing to see that night and to see the things that have transpired since then. Alex Pereira wants to move up to heavyweight. Wow. Should he move up to heavyweight? Does it make sense? Who would he fight? Those are the questions that are being asked. One, it sounds like Alex Pereira did get hurt after the fight, so we have no idea how long it will take for him to be ready if he needed to move up to heavyweight. We also now know that he's a little bit older of a fighter. He's at 38 years old. Cutting weight's just probably not for him anymore, or he's just tired of doing it. But also, this is a guy that just moved up to this weight class. This is still a little bit newer to him. And he's going to jump another one? How many times have we seen that in UFC and that actually goes to work? Dana White already has pauses about it. Does he really want this to happen? But the interesting thing is every fighter that's in the light heavyweight division that is this prospect, it seems like all of them are on the same page. Alex Pereira is moving up to heavyweight no matter what. It all seems like they had this pre-notion that this was going to happen if Alex won. But now that we sit here, the question still looms. Does it make sense? I don't think it makes sense yet. I still think there's one more fight left for Alex Pereira in the light heavyweight division. And that is Carlos Ulberg. He absolutely walks through Dominic Reyes. You obviously can't give Alex Pereira Yuri because he's already beat him twice, and he beat him in knockout fashion where Yuri just did not stand a chance. Maybe there's a Magomed rematch in there, but he dominated Magomed straight from the jump. I don't know if there's a thirst for a rematch with him. Maybe there is. They clearly don't like each other. But there is a prospect in waiting in Carlos that is on a 9-fight winning streak, who is just as dangerous as Alex Pereira, who's a good matchup for Alex, and that he's a striker as well. So you're not going to see a boring wrestling match. You're going to see him go toe-to-toe with another guy of his caliber. That's going to bring in fans. But the problem is Carlos a big enough name? That's ultimately what we're talking about here. Is he going to bring in a big enough crowd? Because you could make an argument that he's not going to. So if he's not going to, there's names at the heavyweight division that would simply break UFC records. And I'm going to go against my point right now. Him versus John Jones would break records. Would John Jones meet him in the middle and go, you know what? I'll cut to light heavyweight, actually. Let me move a little bit down in pounds, and then we can go. Okay, so then we have an interesting fight. Tom Aspinall is not going to move down in weight, tell you that much. And let's say he does beat Cyril Gane. He beats the snot out of him, knocks him out like he does everyone else in that division. Who is in the wins waiting for Tommy? I would say there's no one. I would say the only guy that's waiting is John Jones. So ultimately, when it comes to the heavyweight division, if you want it to succeed, if you want the heavyweight to be quote-unquote back, Alex Pereira moving up brings it all the way back to a whole nother level. And you get the biggest super fight of all time with him and John Jones if possible. If not, I think you can do the exact same thing with Tom Aspinall, and it'll bring in just as much numbers and just as many eyes. Because once again, you have two lethal, most dangerous men in the world, and that anything can happen on that night. And if Alex Pereira pulls it off, he's widely considered possibly the greatest fighter in UFC history. Possibly. At least he's up there. He's in the conversation. Should he move up? I don't want him to. I want him to fight Carlos. I think once he's fought Carlos, it's done. Counter to that is, at his age, why wait? And when you look at that heavyweight division, you really need something exciting going. You're only as good as your heavyweights. And Alex Pereira can be that exciting push, can be that exciting plug that really just takes off to a whole nother level. What stops all this? Tom Aspinall loses. Tom Aspinall loses the heavyweight championship belt. I think this thing gets completely rethought, because then you have a new champion there Then you have Tom Aspinall who has to fight his way back up to get a rematch against Cyril Gane. Then maybe you create a rivalry within it, and then now you start selling something. All that's to say, Alex Pereira does it again. Chama, chama, chama. This guy's a freaking beast. Let me know what you think he should do. If you want him to move up to heavyweight, if you want him to stay at light heavyweight for now. I want to see him versus Carlos so badly. The thing that goes for Alex Pereira too is that these guys in his light heavyweight division is striker upon striker upon striker. He doesn't have to worry about facing no wrestler. By the way, has anyone tried to take him down yet? Or has anyone got him to take him down? You know, Magomed went for it in that last fight that he had this weekend. Oliveria defended it well and continued to beat the living snot out of him. Alex Pereira, thank you for this weekend. But also, maybe just one more there, and then you go up to heavyweight. But I think a lot of this rides on what Tom Aspinall does against Cyril Gane. Just my opinion. And if John Jones is ready for that fight. Because I guarantee you, if this does happen and Alex Pereira moves up in weight, Aspinall's never going to fight John. John's going to go straight for Alex Pereira, and that sucks for him. Because let's say he makes light. Let's say Alex does go up in that weight class, and he fights John, and John makes easy work of him. I could make the argument. Actually, I'm going to make the argument right now. Alex Pereira is an easier fight for him if it's at heavyweight. To me, Alex's first time feeling a guy that's 250 plus coming at him, that's trying to take him down, he didn't feel John Jones' strength. That's not a strength he's felt at all in the UFC or even in the kickboxing world. It's a whole different ballgame. And then not to mention the grappling that John Jones is equipped with, that could pummel Alex Pereira. Where against Tom Aspinall, this is a ball game he's been playing in. You want to shoot on him, guess what? You're coming right back up. You're not going to be able to take him down. It is an easier fight for John, unless John says, hey, I'll do light. And I don't think he will. But also rest in peace to his brother. Condolences to his family. The easier fight for John is Alex Pereira at heavyweight. We'll see if it happens. We'll see what Alex decides to do. We'll see if Dana White approves of the move up in weight. Exciting stuff. But great weekend as always. Merab does it again. Does he fight in December? I sure as hell hope so. And to be honest with you, there's another thing that happened this weekend that I tend to agree with, and I can't believe I'm saying this. Sean O'Malley said the only person that can defeat Merab is probably him. And I tend to agree. Kinda. I think Umar maybe can. But Umar has to do his stand-up. The only way you can beat Merab Dvalishvili is you have to knock him out. You have to catch him once. And the only guys that so far have been able to, O'Malley did it in that last round in the first go-round. Umar did it in the early rounds. But a lot of people get Merab pretty early. It's what he does later on that does his damage. Versus O'Malley did his damage in that last round where you can make an argument that he won it. That's the difference between the two. But to beat Merab, you have to knock him out. You can't just do a decision. He's just too in shape. He's too aggressive. He's too nonstop in your face. He's too chaotic. You got to just sleep the guy. And right now, it doesn't look like that's possible. But I do agree with that take by Sean O'Malley. That's the housekeeping of the recent UFC news. Getting into the fights this weekend. There's only going to be 3 I'm going to talk about. And we'll get to it pretty quickly. Joel Alvarez at welterweight defending Vicente. Look, Joel Alvarez has been on fire in his last 3 fights. He knocks out 2 guys, gets a submission dating back to 2023. He was supposed to fight St. Denis earlier this year, but had to pull out because of hand injury. Joel has a one-touch knockout power, and he can be a danger anywhere he goes. He faces a guy in Vicente where, let's be honest, very, very talented. Doesn't provide Joel the quite challenge that I think another guy would, because Vicente is a Muay Thai striker. He's a Muay Thai fighter. Joel can kind of pick his parts and take him out in ways that he sees fit and can't punch him just to death. He's the better striker than he is. And when it's a striker versus striker and there's a clear lean on a guy that's better, that's Joel Alvarez. And it looks into the past damage that he's done with the knockouts. I think he does it again. I think he knocks out Vicente easily this weekend. So look out for that. Figueiredo fights again against Montel Jackson at bantamweight division. Figueiredo's had a tough go. He faced Jan, who rocks him. He faces Sanhagen, who then KOs him. And then he faces the guy that's the up and coming and the next great thing in Jackson, who's been on fire, has not lost since 2020, 6 straight wins, 3 of those wins by KO. He is 16-2. He is 1.39 strikes absorbed. He's not taking any damage. He can take you down with 3.24 takedown average. He's well-rounded. He is younger. He is more physical, and I don't trust the chin of Figueiredo anymore. No, I do not. And that's why Jackson is such a heavy favorite in this one. If you had to lean a different way, lean some ways, KO Jackson. That's it, baby, because he is such a heavy favorite. That's where it goes, and that's where it dances. Now you have Charles Oliveira coming off the knockout, lost to Ilia Poirier for the title. Comes back pretty quickly, if I like to add. And he faces a guy that's a grappler in Gamrot, I should say. I never, ever trust a grappler against Charles Oliveira. He's way too good on the ground. He's way too strong. He's way too smart, way too calm. That is his area of expertise. That is his ball game, his world. I don't know if I trust anyone besides Islam to face him and go to the ground and still be able to get up and or win the fight. Oliveira is the best at it. And if you want to beat him, you got to knock him. That's the way you take this guy out. And I just don't believe that his opponent is going to be able to do that against him. I think Oliveira is going to find his submission and he's going to do his damage on the ground, whether it's ground and pound, get him in an arm bar, leg lock, guillotine, whatever the hell it is. He goes to sleep. Oliveira is a better fighter. And like I said, you can't trust a grappler. You can't trust a wrestler, not against a guy like him. He created the rule book on grappling. That is Charles Oliveira, man. So he's a veteran fighter. He's the better fighter. I'm going to take him in this one. That's all I got for these fights this weekend. Once again, Alex Pereira, should he move up to heavyweight? The biggest question of them all. We shall see. I can't wait to hear what happens next. I can't wait to see what happens more. I can't wait for Tom Aspinall to fight Cyril Gane and we get the results of that one. That will really tell of what's going to happen next. That's Mario Hand for Wages and Warriors. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll see you next time. Like, share, and subscribe if you hate it or if you love it.